Hello, this is Kent Kruger and welcome to the Biological Channel. I hope you can hear me okay. I'm using a new headpiece today, new microphone. You know, they don't last forever. The first thing that I want to say is that who needs glasses when you have a bottle? This is a first. Gotta make this. The sun that you see breaking out over me. When I came home from town, getting my weekly, you only go to town every week or every. When I came home, I saw, and all around me it's all cloudy and, well, especially down in the river valleys and stuff like that, or in the low-lying areas, it was cloudy, cold, misty. But when I came back up to here to the top of the hill, exactly right over there, exactly on the 30th parallel, exactly over where my ancestors, you know, decided to settle, actually purchase property by 1818, was there by 1819 this year. Exactly where they settled, there was this huge hole and huge massive clouds here in Texas. Right there on the 30th parallel, right over there. And now it's kind of moving this way. It'll break out again in a moment. Yeah, I know it says like camel, but I always strip off that stuff with a knife. Okay. This is a prefatory remark about that needs to precede every other videos that I make about ETs, extraterrestrials, encounters, close encounters of all three kinds. And there's that lovely sun again. And I want to apologize. Like the last video I uploaded, my camera is a Moto Lenovo, which is a Jew-boy Louis Rossman in New York City. Lenovo is one of his favorite brands. I can even, off the bounce light now, I can see the... Sorry, I'm... But it's so sensitive, and especially in cold weather when it's not indoors or stuff like that. A gust of wind will shut off the camera. If I have it too close to my face and stuff like that, when it's on its pedestal and stuff like that, my breath will hit that fingerprint reader right there, and it'll shut it off. So it explains some of my erratic behavior. Oh, I'm almost about a liter into wine. It's Shabbat. It's after 2 something Central Standard Time, Texas. And in this video, which I have a lovely 12 minutes left to talk, is about the most important issue that you need to keep in mind while you watch the following 100 videos I'm going to make on this topic, because I'm sick and tired of you pothead hippie losers that don't really want to learn any science at all. You don't want to learn any science unless I do like cool stuff and entertain you and make some pretty pictures and stuff like that. I'm sorry, I'm adjusting my camera a bit here. I figured that a long time ago. All you want to do is, you idiots out there, watch these high production value, expensive productions, which is full of scientific errors, and you just lap it up like retarded, you know, dogs from the dog pound. I'm serious. They go around sniffing and licking every scientific anus on this planet. You know, when I started this series, actually I started on YouTube 3 years ago. Shut it down real quickly because I saw there was nobody. All they cared about on... I've already stated all that. But the videos stayed in my account. Only about 11 months ago, re-uploaded them and some of them are going way over 200 views, which is good for somebody who has absolutely no desire to control his speech. Hi, little thing that, yeah, he's about at 800 feet. So he's within his legal limit, approaching Easterwood Airport at Texas A&M University, where the Bushes land often, and military planes. But I want to get to this whole episode, which later tonight I will look up on Google Maps, although it's... Here comes another single engine. Okay. Sorry about the noise, folks, but I live on a hilltop. They use it as a visual landmark. And so did the military. This place used to be just driving me nuts with all when Bergstrom Air Force Base, now known as Austin Bergstrom International Airport. Actually, I've had all kind of, even had military people. I put out of the medical business a doctor who was also what was the first Iraqi war, veteran and stuff like that, Tomcat, fighter pilot, never quite made ace, but anyway. He used to fly on those old T-1 trainers, which only the general staff gets. He used to fly out here, right over me just to take a look at the guy that ended his medical practice back after 96, 97. So I have at least 9 minutes to blabber on about what I really need to talk to you about. And like I said before, I don't need glasses. I drink, I'm very, what's the term? I'll think about it. I'm Scotch thrifty. Okay, that's a good way to. As a former player for the Belmont, California Scots, and being the best player they ever had, only record-setting player they ever really had. Calm down. I got this jerk neighbor in this direction over here. He's about 2/3 of a mile away. Dogs are barking and stuff like that. He's a loser. I'm having all these people moving in around me. Only one of them's retired, one of them's usually never. God, it's getting cramped out here. I used to have all my neighbors was at least, a half to a mile and a half away. And now I got like several houses within only about a half a mile to 2/3 of a mile away, and fortunately most of them are not there. The point I want to make in this video, which will be in the title, is that they never harmed me. I need to go ahead and speed this up and tell it because I've only got about 6 or 7 minutes left. You've all heard all these weirdo stories from around the globe about people being abducted by aliens. Actually, I'm an alien abductee, but they were friendly. As a matter of fact, there's not just one species. There's all kind of aliens coming here all the time. And to tell you the truth, the aliens that I've had real close contact with, I'm not sure yet. They actually may be from this planet. They're maybe our cousins. They may have dumped some of us on this planet. I mean, one of my working theories is that this is the Botany Bay of the Milky Way galaxy for certain cousins that are just, kind of like the Appalachian. I'm not going to put it on they're like Appalachian porch monkeys or hood rat porch monkeys. There you go. YouTube, deal with that. My point is want to make is that they have never harmed me in any way. I'm going to tell a specific story real quickly here in the next 5 minutes. If anything, as I will show you in future episodes, they've done so much to enlighten me and teach me physics, electrorheological fluids, give me some clue as to how they operate. At no time have they harmed me. And let me get to a specific story. Many years ago, this is after my lovely wife, you'll never hear me say anything bad about her, had parted ways. She really was too young, and she's had daddy, her father abandoned her and her family when she was 4. She's never bonded with anybody tighter than me, but I'll get to the point. Is that I was bouncing around all of North America and stuff like that. This is around 1990 or so, just before I decided to settle back down to my studies. And I was visiting my mom because I love my mom. My mom's smart. She's just such a always, yeah. And plus, I mow the yard. I take care of the plumbing. I was the only kid that actually did all that stuff and get her whatever she needs. Anyway, so I said, "What the hey?" I decided to take a trip down a river I had really not gone down because, anyway, perhaps later tonight I will show you the exact maps and check it on the 30th parallel. There comes that sun again. But here's the story. And I got less than 3 minutes to really tell it because there's not much to tell here. Went to Walmart, bought an inexpensive raft, already had a Coleman Peak 1 pack, etc. Bought a couple gallons of, 2 gallons exactly, because it was a 2-day trip. Checked it out on the map and stuff like that. I'm going like, oh yeah, water barely moves, but I mean, please, even I can do 10 miles a day on the Navasota River, also referred to in Texas as the Navasot. And for those of you who are, so I had a friend take me out and drop me at one bridge, which I'll specify in another video. And early one morning, got out there and we smoked a joint, stuff like that. I didn't take any pot on the bear. I took a couple of packs of cigarettes in a Ziploc bag, keep them dry. I did have a sleeping bag, tent, all that stuff, but ended up not using. Had it on my pack in case it dumped with a flotation device, etc. Totally prepared. And I launched about around 8:30 a.m. off the northern bridge, heading to a southern bridge, which is Highway 21, where it comes from. I think it's, yeah, Highway 21, where it comes from, I got to check, from Navasota into College Station in Bryan, over to the university. It's about a 20-mile stretch of river, and I have 2 minutes to finish this up here. So I started going down the river and stuff like that. Nothing really, I'll elaborate later, nothing really memorable to mention and stuff like that, except on day one, and I only carried 2 gallons of distilled water. That river water is not drinkable. It is not. Can't really be filtered well. And I still had a Swiss filter. And the first place that I pulled up to, this isn't going to go well. First place I pulled up to had a bull. I see right now I'm going to go ahead and see if they'll accept the upload. I'll break it in 2 if I have to. It was getting late in the day, sun was going down. I pulled up onto a place where there was this beautiful oak that was curved out over the river and stuff like that. Good sandy beach and stuff like that. I pulled up, and I no sooner started like pulling out my tent and here came a 1-ton bull, big ass horns, dragging 5 cow-calf pairs behind him. And that's when I started easing. And you know how I distracted him? I'm going to break this into 2 videos. You know how I distracted him? Was that me and I really hate you now, Rhodes. This guy was like my Jew buddy. He knew I was Jewish, but I wasn't out of the closet, wasn't observant yet or anything like that. He was just one of the most obnoxious, racist, money-grubbing, sucking off his mama, who was a realtor. Failed at almost everything, even drug dealing. Come on, man. But we had been, around the mall a few days before, and we went by the 99-cent store, and we actually went out to see, what's the old phrase? Young mannish boy. There was a group called that, led by a black dude, black vocalist, and me, he's kind of like the local music critic, too, at the time. And was about to build his own studio. And they had these real cool, for only $1 a piece, they had these real cool sunglasses that had little LEDs and a battery on the side that would do, various rhythms and other, and we wore them to that concert that night, stuff like that. And I actually had them in there because I had no other sunglasses in case it got, really bad on the... And that bull that approached me, I quickly pulled them sunglasses out of a side pocket. I'm going to break this into 2 videos because I'm obviously going... And I pulled them... I'm going to tell a longer story here now. I went over... My pack was already kind of unpopped. It was a Coleman Peak one, the big one, not the short one, which is my all-time favorite of packs ever. And I've spent, hundreds, many hundreds, short of 1,000 on packs. Internal frame, blah, blah, blah. Coleman Peak 1 packs are the best ever invented. Saved my life many a times. Now I reached in there, and I hit the little button on the side that turned on those weird blinking lights, which included red, and set it up on that, remember the oak tree I told you about that was bent over the river? I set it up on the trunk of that tree, and the big bull in front of them 10 cow-calf pairs was kind of looking at me. He'd look at the tree. I'm going like, it's time to escape. So even though there was only less than an hour of light left, I slid me and my raft back into the Navasota River, and I paddled and 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 paddled way past dark. It may have been 10:30, 11, I'm thinking closer to midnight. And I finally came to a bend in the river, which I'll get to in a minute here, which is critical. I came to a bend in the river, which I'm going, okay, this is a perfect spot. I'm exhausted. I can't go no more. And I pulled my raft up on, when I came up, I could see that, this was a bend in the river, and there was about a 5-foot wall of erosion, and there was grass on top. And so I pulled my raft up on the bank, and I took a sip out of my second jug, 1-gallon jug of distilled water, which is actually what this thing is sitting on. And I was just laying there, and I know I was drifting off, but I didn't recall that drift off for another full day plus. And the next morning, I wake up, I'm refreshed, I'm ready to go. It's already an hour plus past sunrise, and I look up, and like I said before, I don't need glasses. I drink right out of the bottle. I'm going to tell you people a lot of great stories. This is one of them. As soon as I stood up and lit one of my few cigarettes, I only brought a couple of packs because it was only supposed to be 2 days. I measured it. I know my rafting, canoeing. Actually, in a canoe, I could have done the whole 20, but not knowing the river. Actually, at one point, there was also a major clog, which I had to work my way around. And there was only a couple people in John boats out there, period. But the point at which I stopped, you know, as soon as I got up, I was kind of looking around. I realized, oh gosh, this is where the giant clams are. All the ground around me was full of the largest freshwater clams on earth. Oh geez, these things are like 8, 10, 12 inches. Sometimes when you pry them suckers open, they got a pound of the best meat on earth inside them. Fresh water too. And going down this river too, I had seen irrigation pipes that were like 3-foot pipes. But I knew almost everybody, you know, there or north of there had stopped farming, had moved to the Brazos River. They were just into ranching and enjoying the wealth that their previous generations had built. But my point is, I woke up on the second day, and as soon as I looked up, I go like, hey, there's 3 young boys, teenage boys, probably none of them, they're all 20 or less, in some pickup, probably a Ford, old Ford. They're looking at me like I'm some kind of monster from outer space, when in East Texas, in Central Texas, as opposed to west of Austin and stuff like that, it's well-established law, and actually it's in most of the country, it's well-established law that one may navigate any navigable waterway, any river or creek, even if it's a, you know, what do the Cajuns call it? You know, there's a little, it'll come to me later. Even if it's only like 2 foot wide, you're free to navigate it, and you're free to camp on the bank. Try not to go, you know, case law says don't go more than about 50 feet inland, or you're going to piss off the landowner. But there it was, legally camping without any objection. I've had problems out in West Texas, because some of them Californians that go out there and buy premium properties think they have control of the entire river right down to the bank. No, you don't. And I proved it many times. But anyway, these 3 young boys was looking at me. I've got at least 8 minutes to finish telling the story. Like I said, I don't need glasses. I drink right out the bottle. I'll never forget that morning. Slept like a rock that night. I'll tell you later that it was more than a night. And I was just sleeping inside the raft, right there on what was soft, you know, mud, surrounded by these giant freshwater clams. Even though I had my own packaged food and water, etc. And I looked up and I looked at them, and them boys, they were going like, you know, I could tell that them, their daddy, granddaddy, owned that property probably forever. And they was, oh, from where I was at, they was at least 150, 200 yards away. Did they make any attempt to close the space or be rude to me or tell me to move along? No. They looked at me like I was from fucking outer space based on what they had seen in the previous 30-something hours, which is where I'm getting to here. I only have about 5 minutes to finish telling the story. So I load up my raft, and in no time, actually before 1 or 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I was at the next bridge on 21 from Navasota, and just stuck out my thumb. And, you know, I already deflated, killed it, because I bought a cheap raft. It was like $50, you know. I already knifed it up and stuff like that, and just, you know, disposed of it to paddle stuff, because, you know, I'm used to having plenty of money. You know, reusing it, trying to deflate and roll up a raft and pack it in. That's bullshit. Just fucking leave it. And I got a ride in, and actually the guy that picked me up, the first guy that picked me up, took me all the way to my mother's house. That's the way real Texans are. And as soon as I got in there, I was telling Mom about my trip along and stuff like that. I looked at the calendar and I said, Mom, it's Saturday. It's supposed to be Friday. What had happened, which later that night and the next day, I remembered falling asleep on that freshwater, huge, giant, clam-filled bed. Is that as I fell asleep, I'm going to use my hands behind me. These clouds, they can't, except these clouds are different. There were clouds that came scudding in, and a moon rose in front of me. A moon rose in front of me, and I fell asleep. The problem is that there was no moon at that time of the month. None. Not full, which these beings, extraterrestrial or terrestrial ancestors or cousins, took me on board their craft for a full 28 plus hours is my minimum estimation. And the only thing that they ever did to me that was bad was that they erased my memory of ever being on that craft. They never probed me. They may have taken my DNA because I carry the most ancient living human DNA on this planet, which may be similar to them. Giant skulls, 28 teeth, perfect dental arch, 5 molar cusps. I'm probably more related to them than you are, especially you Africans, which are highly devolved people, genetically violent and retarded. We've proven that. Oh, Lord, this is one of the first clear days we've had in days, and all the single-engine planes are being real busy today. So I want to make a point. The major thing is that I'm a water drinking, and I didn't want to carry my Catadine Swiss filter down into, wasn't going to use it. And I only carried 2 gallons of distilled water, yet by the calendar and everything else, including my mom, I was on that river for 3 days. Where was I for 28 to 30 plus hours? But the main thing is that, like when I bathe and wash, I go way up in that back hole. As an athlete, you learn to touch every part of your body, massage it, everything. I'm not like some of you squeamish people. Like when I wash my backside, my finger goes up in there, and usually with a towel, and even bare, and make sure nothing happened. No anal probing, like the rest of you fucking weirdo. Okay, I'll use the YouTube term, gay, schizophrenic, crackhead, loser, meth head, toothless bastards. Do you see any toothlessness in here? And this happened, what the hell is it now, 38 years ago? And all my contacts, encounters with extraterrestrial, which even one of them I'll talk about, appears to be the tiny grays. They never harmed me. They've done nothing but help me. Maybe you got harmed because you're a retard, and all they want is like your retard genetics for their slaves, but not me. I'm just trying to tell you, dude. Although I want to end this right here. I got enough time. No, I don't. And over 38 years, they've never harmed me. End of 2 segments.